Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with the truth that you cannot afford to ignore. Your mind is your greatest asset or your biggest liability. What you focus on expands. What you think about consistently becomes your reality. And what you give your attention to, that's what you're building, whether you realize it or not. The difference between the average and the extraordinary isn't always talent, luck, or opportunity. Most of the time, it's focus, the power to direct your thoughts, to harness your energy, and to move with purpose without being pulled in 100 different directions. But here's the challenge. We live in a world full of noise, notifications, distractions, opinions, fears, doubts, and comparisons. And if you don't train your mind to focus, the world will train it for you to be scattered, to be reactive, to be weak. So today, we're gonna flip the script. Today, we train your mind to focus. Focus is one of the most misunderstood powers we have. People often believe that focus means sitting in silence, eliminating noise, and avoiding distractions. But true focus is much deeper than that. It's not just about turning off your phone or isolating yourself from social media. True focus is about choice, the conscious decision of where to direct your energy, your attention, and your thoughts. It's about choosing what deserves your attention instead of letting life decide for you. Most people do not suffer from a lack of focus. They are focused, but they are focused on the wrong things. They're focused on their fears. They're focused on problems that haven't even happened yet. They're focused on what people might think or say. They're focused on the past, on mistakes, on failures. And the sad truth is, whatever you focus on, you give life to. Whatever you focus on, you feed. So when your mind is fixed on negativity, on lack, on self-doubt, don't be surprised when those things start growing in your life. If you want results in your business, if you want growth in your personal life, if you want to find your purpose, you've got to step back and ask yourself, what actually deserves my focus? Not what's urgent, not what's trending, not what everyone else is talking about, but what is essential to the life I want to build. This is where clarity becomes your greatest weapon. Clarity leads to power. When you're clear on where you're going, you become powerful in your decisions. Distractions lose their grip. Opinions don't shake you. Challenges don't break you. Why? Because your focus is locked in on something greater than your current situation. Ask yourself, what do I want to build? Not what do I want to escape or what do I want to fix, but what do I want to create? That question alone will elevate your thinking. Then ask, what kind of life do I want to live? And finally, what mission am I committed to? You see, when you give your mind a mission, your focus becomes automatic. Your focus aligns with your purpose. You stop wasting energy on things that have nothing to do with where you're going. Here's a quick example to bring this home. There was a young man who wanted to become a world-class musician. He had talent, no doubt, but like many others, he struggled with distractions. His phone was always buzzing. Friends constantly invited him out. He had 100 things pulling at his attention every single day. But one day he made a decision, not just to focus more, but to decide what deserved his focus. He wrote down his mission to become a master violinist who inspires others with his music. From that day forward, every time he faced the distraction, he asked himself, does this align with my mission? If it didn't, it got a no. Simple. Not easy, but simple. He practiced twice a day. He stopped hanging out with people who didn't understand his vision. He trained his mind to focus not just through discipline, but by having a clear purpose. A few years later, he was performing on world stages. He didn't get there by accident. He didn't get there by chasing every notification or entertaining every opinion. He got there because he knew what deserved his focus, and he protected that focus like his future depended on it. Because it did. So the message is clear. You don't need more time, more talent, or more motivation. You need to decide what deserves your focus. Because once you do, everything else becomes noise. And when the noise dies down, the vision gets louder. And when the vision gets louder, your results get stronger. Make the decision today. Focus on what builds you, not what breaks you. Discipline is not a one-time event. It's not something you do once and forget about. It's something you commit to daily, especially when it comes to your thoughts. Your mind is powerful, but left untrained, it becomes chaotic. It wanders, it reacts, it creates stories, fears, and doubts that have no business guiding your future. A focused mind is not something you are born with. A focused mind is something you build over time through daily discipline. Think about it like this. If you wanted to build physical strength, you wouldn't go to the gym once, lift a few weights, and expect to be strong for life. You'd show up consistently. You'd challenge yourself. You'd eat right. You'd recover properly. You'd treat it as a lifestyle. The same principle applies to your thoughts. You don't train your mind one time and expect it to be sharp forever. You've got to show up every single day and do the mental reps, because life doesn't stop throwing distractions and difficulties at you, and neither should you stop strengthening your mindset. Every day your mind is being shaped. The question is, who's doing the shaping, you or the world? Because the world will try to shape your thoughts with fear, scarcity, drama, and distraction. And if you don't discipline your mind to resist it, you will fall into it. That's why you have to start your day with intention. Before you pick up your phone, before you check your emails, before the world throws its agenda at you, set your own. Speak power over your day. Feed your mind the right thoughts. Read something that grows you. Listen to something that challenges you. Pray, meditate, reflect. But whatever you do, don't let the first voice you hear be one of chaos. Make it a voice of clarity and control, your voice. And throughout the day, you need to stay alert. You've got to recognize the moment your thoughts start drifting, because they will. You'll catch yourself worrying about something you can't control. You'll start doubting whether you're good enough. You'll hear the voice of fear whispering, what if you fail? And this is the moment that separates the weak from the strong, the moment when you pull your thoughts back. Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient. Right then, right there, you train your mind to reject the thoughts that don't serve your goals. There's a simple rule. Don't let your mind go where your goals don't live. If your goal is success, don't entertain thoughts of defeat. If your goal is peace, don't nurture thoughts of chaos. If your goal is growth, don't allow thoughts of laziness and complacency to linger. Your mind is the control center of your life, and if you don't take control of it, someone or something else will. Let me give you an example. There was a man who grew up in a rough neighborhood. Violence, poverty, and negativity surrounded him. Every day he saw examples of what failure looked like, and it would have been easy for him to absorb all of that, to let it shape his thinking. But he had a different mindset. Every morning, while others were still sleeping or wasting time, he would sit down and write 3 things: what he was grateful for, what his goals were, and one positive thought for the day. He didn't have money. He didn't have connections. But he had discipline of thought. He refused to let his mind settle into victimhood. Every time he caught himself thinking, this is too hard, or why me, he would stop, breathe, and replace it with something empowering. This challenge is making me stronger, or this test is preparing me for more. It wasn't magic. It was muscle of the mind. And day by day, thought by thought, he rewired the way he saw himself and the world around him. Today, that same man is a successful entrepreneur, mentor, and leader. And if you ask him what made the difference, he won't say luck or education. He'll say, I trained my thoughts daily. I didn't let my environment shape my mind. I shaped my mind. I shaped my mind. And then I shaped my environment. That's the power of disciplined thinking. You're not going to feel motivated every day. But discipline doesn't care how you feel. It only cares about your commitment. Your job isn't to always feel strong. It's to train your thoughts so that even on your weakest days, your mind knows how to fight. Your job isn't to never fear. It's to make sure fear doesn't get to run the show. This isn't about perfection. You will slip. Your mind will wander. But the difference maker is how quickly you catch it and correct it. A warrior doesn't wait for the enemy to take over before preparing for battle. He sharpens his sword daily. You've got to do the same with your mind. So make it a daily discipline. Speak life over your future. Reject lies with truth. Drown out fear with faith. Replace worry with action. And when the battle gets tough, remind yourself you trained for this. Focus isn't just about choosing what to concentrate on. It's also about learning what to release. You can't build the future when your hands are full of the past. And you certainly can't move forward when your mind is cluttered with old thoughts, regrets, grudges, and distractions. Mental clarity doesn't begin with a motivational quote or a fresh to-do list. It begins with a cleanup, a deep, intentional cleanup of what's been living rent-free in your mind and robbing you of peace, focus, and progress. One of the biggest obstacles to focus is not noise from the outside world, it's noise from within. It's the weight of unresolved issues, mistakes that haven't been forgiven, conversations that replay in your head, and decisions you regret. These things don't just take up space, they drain energy, blur vision, and distort priorities. You end up overthinking simple choices, reacting emotionally to small triggers, and feeling stuck even when opportunities are all around you. If your computer has too many tabs open, it slows down, it overheats, it crashes. Your mind works the same way. When you've got too many mental tabs open, things you haven't dealt with, things you keep replaying, things you're avoiding, your brain burns energy just trying to keep everything running in the background. And that energy drain, that's why you feel tired even after a full night's sleep. That's why you can't focus for more than a few minutes. That's why the future feels foggy, because your present is overloaded and your past is still playing in your head. The solution is simple, but not easy. You have to declutter. You have to start closing the tabs. That means letting go of regrets, things you said, things you did, things you wish you could go back and change. You can't rewrite yesterday, but you can ruin today by obsessing over it. Let it go, learn the lesson, and leave the weight. It also means forgiving. Not just forgiving others, but also forgiving yourself. We all mess up. We all fall short. But carrying shame like a badge won't make you better. It will just make you better. It will just make you better. Forgiveness is freedom. Forgiveness is clarity. When you forgive, you free up space in your mind for vision, for faith, for creativity, for possibility. You stop reacting from pain and start responding from purpose. Another part of mental decluttering is being honest about what you're still holding on to. Is there a conversation you need to have, an apology you need to give, a boundary you need to set? The things we avoid dealing with don't disappear. They just sit in the corner of our minds, collecting dust and growing heavier. And until you address them, they'll continue to cloud your judgment and limit your focus. Here's a powerful example. There was a woman who had a passion for writing. She dreamed of publishing books and inspiring people with her story. But year after year, she couldn't get started. Every time she sat down to write, she felt blocked. She'd procrastinate. She'd second guess herself. She'd stare at a blank page for hours. At first, she thought it was just writer's block, but deep down, it was more than that. Eventually, she took time to reflect and realize she had been carrying the weight of a mistake she made years ago, a broken relationship that ended badly, and a harsh comment someone once made. Who would want to hear what you have to say? That one sentence had planted a seed of self-doubt, and she'd been watering it for years without realizing it. Once she identified the clutter, she did the work. She forgave the person. She forgave herself. She stopped replaying the past and started rewriting her story. She wrote her truth without apology. And once her mind was clear, the words started flowing. She finished her first book in 6 months. Not because she learned a new technique, but because she cleared the mental space that was holding her voice hostage. That's the power of eliminating mental clutter. It's not about becoming perfect. It's about freeing your mind to do what it was created to do. Think clearly, create boldly, and focus fully. When your mind is clear, decisions become easier. Energy returns, confidence grows. You start operating with precision instead of confusion. You stop reacting to the past and start building the future. So ask yourself today, what's cluttering my mind? What regrets am I still carrying? Who do I need to forgive? What tabs are still open that need to be closed? And then do the work. Don't wait for a perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel like it. Clean up the mess in your mind. Your future is too important to let the past crowd it out. A clear mind is a focused mind. A focused mind is a powerful mind. And a powerful mind, that's how you change your life. One thought at a time, one decision at a time, one cleared space at a time. Let go, clean up, and watch what happens when your mind is finally free to focus on what truly matters. The most powerful place you'll ever be is now. Not someday, not next year, not when everything's perfect. The present moment is where your life is happening, and if you're not here, fully here, you're missing it. You can't control the past, you can't predict the future, but you can master this moment. And if you master this moment over and over again, that's how you build a future that's strong, clear, and extraordinary. We live in a world that's constantly trying to pull our attention away. There's always something to worry about, something to regret, something to scroll, something to compare. And in the process, we lose sight of what we can actually do right now. You see, the present moment doesn't just hold your action, it holds your power. But power only works if it's used. If your mind is drifting through anxiety about next week or stuck in guilt from last year, you're not showing up for the opportunity that's right in front of you. Being present isn't just some peaceful idea, it's a high performance habit. It's how you multiply your impact. Because when you're fully present, you work with intention. You communicate with clarity. You grow with awareness. You don't just go through the motions. You engage. You lead. You respond. You create. And that's how you build a life of excellence, one focused moment at a time. Let's take a simple real-life example. There was a young man training to be a chef. He was ambitious, talented, and had dreams of opening his own restaurant one day. But he was constantly distracted. While prepping ingredients, his mind would drift to future plans, what city he'd open his place in, what the logo would look like, what the menu should say. When his mentor asked him to focus on the task at hand, chopping onions, perfecting a sauce, or plating a dish, he'd do it half-heartedly because he saw it as just the basics. One day, his mentor stopped in mid-task and said, "You want to be great someday? Then master today. Master this onion. Master this sauce. Because if you can't give your best at the moment you're in, what makes you think you'll give your best when the pressure's on?" That conversation hit him hard. From that day forward, he approached every moment in the kitchen like it was his final exam. He showed up differently. He gave everything to the task in front of him. Within 2 years, not only had he sharpened his skill, but he also earned the opportunity to run his own kitchen. And he did it not by obsessing over the future, but by mastering the moment. That's how it works in life too. You don't become your best self all at once. You become your best self in the small, focused moments. The workout where you push a little harder, the conversation where you truly listen, the quiet hour where you read instead of scrolling, the decision to show up on time and fully prepared. Stack enough of those moments together, and you've got a life that's powerful, productive, and deeply meaningful. So if you want to train your mind to focus, don't wait for a big opportunity to show up. Use what you have right now. Be present in your work. Be present in your growth. Be present in your conversations. Show up like it matters, because it does. Every present moment is a seed, and what you plant today, you'll harvest tomorrow. The past is over. The future isn't promised, but this moment, it's yours. Don't waste it. Master it, because your future will be the fruit of the focus you bring right now. Your mind is your most valuable territory, and just like a kingdom that's worth defending, your mental environment must be protected with intention, clarity, and discipline. Focus doesn't thrive in chaos. It doesn't grow in negativity. And it certainly doesn't last in environments filled with distractions and noise. If you want to stay sharp, driven, and locked in, you've got to guard your mind like a king guards his castle. You don't leave the gate wide open. You don't let every wandering traveler enter. You set the standard, you protect the peace, and you keep the energy pure. The people you spend time with, the conversations you entertain, the content you consume, it all becomes part of your mental diet. And just like your physical health is shaped by what you eat, your mental strength is shaped by what you allow in. Every input creates an output. You can't constantly feed your mind with doubt, gossip, comparison, and distractions and expect to create a focused, powerful, productive life. It doesn't work like that. You've got to be ruthless about what gets access to your focus. Because not everything deserves it. Not every voice needs to be heard. Not every notification needs a response. Not every conversation needs your participation. The more you protect your environment, the more energy you'll have to give to what actually matters. Start by taking inventory. Who are the people in your circle? Are they lifting you higher or pulling you down? Are they talking possibility or problems? Are they thinking big or stuck in small? If your environment is full of people who complain, who settle, who doubt, who mock growth, you're fighting an uphill battle. Because you're not just working to build your focus, you're working against the drag of the environment around you. Now, this doesn't mean you cut people off cold without compassion, but it does mean you elevate your standard. You surround yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you, and remind you of what's possible. People who speak life, not limitation. People who are building, not breaking. Because when your environment is aligned with your goals, focus becomes your natural state. Not a fight, not a struggle, but a rhythm. And it's not just people, it's the noise too. We live in an age where distraction is just one click away. The scroll, the feed, the endless updates, it's always available. And if you don't create boundaries, those distractions will drain your energy, your time, and your focus. You'll spend your life reacting instead of creating, consuming instead of producing, comparing instead of progressing. So here's a simple but powerful strategy. Turn off what doesn't turn on your growth. That podcast that leaves you feeling anxious, cut it. That show that's stealing your nights, skip it. That social media account that makes you feel small, unfollow it. Protect your mental environment like your life depends on it, because in many ways, it does. Let me give you an example. There was a woman with a dream to write a book. She had the talent, the vision, and the passion, but every time she sat down to write, her mind was cluttered. Her phone was buzzing, her TV was on, her friends were messaging her all day about nonsense. She wanted to focus, but her environment wouldn't let her. One day, she decided to take full control. She deleted the apps that distracted her. She told her friends she'd be unavailable during her writing hours. She created a dedicated space for deep work, and every morning she filled her mind with powerful content. Books, affirmations, and focused silence. Within 6 months, her book was not only written, but also published and successful. She didn't change her talent, she changed her environment. And because of that, she unlocked her potential. That's what happens when you protect your mental space. You stop fighting unnecessary battles. You stop being drained by things that don't serve you. You reclaim your focus, you create more, you produce more, you grow faster. Every day you have a choice. You can feed your focus or feed your distraction. You can open your gates to chaos, or you can guard them like a king. The quality of your focus is directly connected to the quality of your environment. If you want better results, upgrade your surroundings. Be intentional, be disciplined, and never forget you're the gatekeeper, you're the gatekeeper. Your focus is your responsibility, and the moment you start protecting it, everything changes. You weren't born to live distracted. You weren't born to be scattered and defeated. You were born with greatness inside you, and that greatness needs your focus to be unleashed. So today, commit. Not just to wish, not just to want, but to train your mind like a warrior trains for battle every day, every moment, every thought. Because when you train your mind to focus, you take control of your future. You move with purpose, and you unlock a version of yourself that the world has never seen before. It's time, train your mind, sharpen your focus, and build the life you were meant to live.